Happy Friday, everyone. Welcome, excuse me. Welcome to Kicking Balls FC. So we're about 5 minutes away from the roster drop from the USMNT, and so far, sorry about my throat, but overall, there's a lot of excitement, a lot of drama, and a lot of nerves going on. Depending on what we have on the roster, that could determine if we're going to qualify directly to the World Cup, if we have to go to a playoff against Oceania, probably New Zealand, or if we're not going to qualify for the second consecutive time since the 2018 disaster. It's already 3:26, right? And I'm just refreshing everything. Unfortunately, I do not have ESPN, right? So right now we're just waiting. Once that the roster is shown, hopefully online, once someone gets the hand of that roster. So unfortunately, we have some bad news already coming in from Barcelona. Uh, Serginho Dest pulled a hamstring during his Europa League play today and will be in doubt for the upcoming roster. But we've seen some images so far from social media, a lot of the PR that Barcelona does, that he's not too bad hurt, but I seriously doubt that he's going to even come to the lineup, even roster, and that's going to take a mark. So the most important thing that we have to understand is, what is Greg Berhalter going to do? What is plan B or plan C, especially knowing that Serginho Dest and as well McKennie is out, right? If it was me, if I was the coach, if I was a competent coach, and I wasn't playing any favors or favorites for this USMNT, I would probably decide on Joe Scally. Yes, he hasn't played any World Cup qualifier, but whose fault is that? Berhalter's fault, right? He had him against the game against Mexico and Jamaica, but yet he basically did not let him play against Jamaica, and that would have been critical. And I have a feeling if Joe Scally was playing against Jamaica, we would have at least gotten 3 points there, and we would not be in this predicament that we were. I think we only would have to theoretically just win that Panama game, and that was it. But there's a lot of ifs and buts. But now we're in the deep end now. So unfortunately, that's what it is. And right now, we are seeing what is going to happen with, what is going to happen with the roster. Everybody is already walking in a very thin ice, and right now we are just nervous because we do not want to go back to that horrible time that happened in Trinidad and Tobago, right? So right now, I am just hopefully, just hope that you know, I really hope that we don't have the same hiccup that we did last time. All right, I just hope that we don't. Oh my gosh, I just hope not, because we can't have another failure, guys. We just can't. We can't have another failure. That it would be one of the worst things that could happen, especially with the type of talent that we have. But again, it it is what it is. Um, so we're gonna find out what's gonna happen. So right now, we haven't heard anything yet. I haven't seen anything that's been updated so far. We haven't seen anything. I'm refreshing as I talk, so I'm making sure that I'm getting as much of the uh, information that is upcoming. So it just keeps saying, watch Sports Center, do all that stuff. But overall, we haven't seen anything, especially from the Twitterverse. So it's already 3:30, guys. 3:30, right? So that it means officially the roster should be out now. It should probably be broadcasting, but hopefully it is going to be shown very soon. So we don't have McKennie. We don't have Dust. What are the alternatives there? Well, for McKennie, it's pretty simple. I would say Luca De La Torre. We've shown that he's a baller. He can play really well in the Dutch league. He's been the man of the match. There's been rumors that there's a lot of top teams that want his services in Italy, in the Bundesliga. So he's been there. He is clutch. He knows he plays without fear and with purpose. And that's what we need, especially with these games, because we got 3 games. The one away against Mexico in the Azteca. Then we have a home game against Panama, and then the away game against Costa Rica, right? So right now, I'm just gonna make sure that my Twitter handle is out there. I'm trying to see if I can find the refresher button so we can finally see if the USMNT roster is out. But so far, we haven't seen anything yet, and that's the problem right there. So we're still waiting. We're still clenching clenching our fists, whatever that might be. Everybody's waiting for for the roster, but we haven't seen anything yet. So as you can see, I'm just trying to get the roster information as much as possible. It's already 6:30 on Eastern time, 3:30 Pacific time where I am, right? I just don't see anything that has to do with the roster just yet. So right now, we don't know what the roster is. So hopefully, if anybody knows, please let me know on the chat. I would really appreciate what this is. But going forward, whatever the roster is, we're going to make an in-depth analysis of what this roster consists of. What do we expect Berhalter would do, and what would a competent coach would do, especially given the circumstances that Berhalter is in. So, in my opinion, I think that whatever the roster is, we kind of have to figure this out, because if those are the players that Berhalter selected, God help us all, but we have to somehow use what we have to qualify, because we already know McKennie is out, Dest is out. That probably did a lot of change on the roster, so they're probably waiting on that. But we'll see. And it sucks because we were not supposed to be in this situation. I really thought that with everything that was going on, that we were already been qualified about now, but that's not it. That's just not the reality at the moment, and we have to, unfortunately, look at that. Major League Soccer just waiting and waiting, like we're waiting so hard on the roster, but it's still not popping up for whatever reason. But yeah, it is frustrating. Okay, guys, so the roster is finally out. The roster is finally out. We're gonna see who comes in. Okay, so this is the roster, guys. So big breaking news. The roster is finally out. We're gonna see who is in. So going from the goalkeeper all the way to forward. So this is what it is. So the goalkeepers is gonna be Ethan Horvath, Sean Johnson, Zach Steffen. Wow. So that means Turner is out. Zach Steffen, I don't know if I would be comfortable of having him play, especially since he came back from injury. Okay, but let's go through the rest of the list. Defenders: Reggie Cannon, Serginho Dest, that could change. Aaron Long, Eric Palmer Brown, Anthony Robinson, Miles Robinson, James Sands, DeAndre Yedlin, Walker Zimmerman. Midfielders: Kellen Lacosta, Tyler Adams, Busio, Luca De La Torre, Yunus Musa, Christian Roldan. And then for the forwards: Brendan Aronson, Paul Areola, Jesus Ferreira, Jordan Morris, Jordan Pifok, Ricardo Pepi, Christian Pulisic, Gio Reyna, and Tim Weah. Whew. All right, guys. So this is it. This is the roster that is either going to make or break us. So let's dive in with the goalkeepers. All right. So the goalkeepers right here, like I said before, Matt Turner is out. He had an injury, supposedly saying that it wasn't frostbite and that, he got injured during a preseason match. And we don't know the timetable of when he's going to come back. So that's unfortunate. So Ethan Horvat, I'm actually okay with that. Ethan Horvat, I think if I was Greg Berhalter, I would select him as the number one to go through all 3 games and even if we can manage at least to get 4 points or even 6, if possible. I think if we still have a game left against Costa Rica, if all the stars are aligned, I would give Sean Johnson, Sean Johnson, I should say, a chance on goalkeeper because at least give him at least one. Okay, defenders: Reggie Cannon, Serginho Dest, Aaron Long, Emmer Palmer Brown, Anthony Robinson, Jedi, Miles Robinson, James Sands, DeAndre Dredlin, and Walker Zimmerman. Okay, so this is the thing. Reggie Cannon, I'm not sure if he's been playing a lot, especially in Portugal. I don't know if that is the right decision, but it looks like Berhalter is going to what he is mostly comfortable with, right? Serginho Dest, we don't know exactly how severe that injury is. That could change. I do hope that at least Berhalter thinks this through, at least changes this lineup, so we can figure out that if Dest is out, we need Joe Scally. We need Joe Scally. I don't care what anybody thinks. Sure, he's raw, but we need him. At least he can give us something. He's basically been one of the best performers in the Bundesliga as a defender. So we have to give him a chance. Aaron Long, that's no surprise there, especially because of what happened with MLS. Going back to the season, I always knew that Aaron Long was going to get to this roster one way or another, especially because just for the fact that he was called in the January camp. That itself was very suspect, and my worst fears have come to realize that that's going to be Aaron Long. All right. Eric Palmer Brown, that itself is a surprise, but actually not too bad. At the same time, he has been performing well, especially in the Belgium league. So it's not too bad. He only has 2 caps, but we will see if he could do something about that. Okay, Anthony Robinson, we already know what he can do, his Jedi moves, right? Miles Robinson, I'm surprised he's actually in the roster, but given that he knows how Greg wants him to play, it's no surprise. But his form has dipped a little bit with Atlanta United this season, and especially that last game against Canada. So hopefully he gets that back. James Sands is actually a very surprised thing. And, James Sands has been having a hard time trying to get some playing time with Rangers. But other than that, he is a solid pick because he can play any of those positions on the back. So he is looking for use utilities for players that can play in any side of the back line. DeAndre Yedlin, no surprise there. Walker Zimmerman, no surprise whatsoever. The 2 things that I would say that are the snubs right here is John Brooks and Joe Scally. Now, I don't know what happened between Brooks and Greg Berhalter. I have no idea what happened, but it looks like Greg Berhalter and John Brooks have some personal issues that they need to deal with. And I don't think he's going to be part of this World Cup team come the World Cup if we manage to qualify. And that is actually unfortunate because, yes, John Brooks had a very bad game against Canada, didn't play very well, but nobody played well that game. And I don't think it's fair for, it's not fair for him to get ousted just like that. I don't think that's right. I really don't think that's right. But I think when given the situation, giving the urgency of how bad we need to qualify, you need someone that's a veteran. And John Brooks was one of those veterans that we needed, especially in these last 3 windows, right? But unfortunately, that's not going to be it. Joe Scally just cannot get a snuff with Greg Berhalter. I don't understand why. Why is Greg wasting his time on this MLS lifters, especially? And look, I'm not saying to bash on MLS. Look, there's some pretty good MLS players that should come to this US squad that deserve the opportunity. But there's just some players that have been given so many opportunities but don't perform whatsoever. But here we go. Midfielders. Kellen Acosta, that is very that was gonna happen. That was gonna be uh especially giving the chance that McKennie is out. Tyler Adams. Tyler Adams is, hopefully he's that back problem that he had wasn't too bad. All right, let's hope that is nothing too bad. He should be ready to play, right? Busio. Busio has been played okay in the Italy league, but overall, I think that um overall, I hope good things happen. Good things happen to Busio, and that he keeps at least plays another game this weekend with Venezia, and maybe that can help solidify. Luca De La Torre, what can I say more about that guy? Right, he deserves it. He should be playing all 3 of those games because he is that good. All right, Yunus Musa, he's been tearing it up with Valencia. Um, what is that team name? Why am I like having a blank thing? Oh my gosh. Uh Valencia? Is that? Yeah, I think it might be. Anyway, but Yunus Musa has been doing good in the Spanish league. All right. Christian Roldan. Why? Why is he giving another chance? I don't understand. We've seen so many times, just because you play really well for the Seattle Sounders doesn't mean you play well with the US men's national team, except that one game that happened with Honduras, which you were clutch. I will admit, Roldan did play the game of his life in that game, but overall, every other game he's played, especially after that Panama game, it just doesn't convince me. I don't know. All right, so forwards, Brendan Aronson, right? Pretty good, right? If I was Brendan Aronson, I would not transfer anywhere in the summer. I would keep where I'm staying right there in that moment because, sure, you want to play for a bigger club, but playing time outweighs the club that you're in. And this is my opinion. Paul Arriola, oh my gosh, I don't know. I don't even know what to do with this one, but I just keep remembering Pariola missing that goal against Mexico in the Gold Cup final and then that Panama game. I just don't know, but we'll see. Jesus Ferrero is an interesting one, I would think. He's been playing okay with FC Dallas, right? But he is not a number 9. Maybe, but we'll see how he plays. Jordan Morris, we'll see. He has a good work ethic. I think he's a good substitute right here and there, but overall, that's just my opinion. Again, I would say the same argument with Christian Roldan, right? I don't know, but we'll see. Jordan Pefok, thank goodness that Greg Berhalter decided to use his head for this one and wasn't stubborn enough, because you cannot have a better forward that's on fire right now than Jordan Pefok in the USMNT. He is tearing it up in the Swiss league. I don't care what league you're playing, but as long as you are scoring goals left and right every other week, you deserve a call in the national team, right? Because when you're hot, use the hot hand, right? Ricardo Pepi. Again, if we're talking about form, and I'm being honest here, I would not decide to have Ricardo Pepi. I'm sorry. He hasn't been playing really well for the Bundesliga. He hasn't scored a goal since last October, right? And I'm kind of thinking that, Ricardo Pepi maybe needs a little bit more time to acclimate, but maybe the way Pepi plays, again, it's part of that Berhalter thing. And even though Pepi did go to the Bundesliga, he was in FC Dallas first, so maybe that has to do with something. So we don't know. Christian Pulisic. what can we say more about Christian Pulisic? He is the GOAT for the US soccer. You know, he's gonna carry this team away. Gio Reyna, right? Thank goodness. So that means Gio Reyna is good and fit enough to be with this team. He was gonna do everything possible to make sure that he was gonna be with this team. And then lastly, Tim Weah. Now this was interesting because Tim Weah, for whatever reason, in his team that he plays for Lille, they just have some horrible midfielders. I don't know what's going on, but he is one of the bright spots. I don't know it's because of the coach, but they're not utilizing they're not utilizing him very well on his strengths. So I'm thinking that uh, for whatever reason, Tim Well doesn't play very well for Lille, but he plays very well with Greg Berhalter if the conditions and the lineup and the tactics are right. So I'm gonna count them down. So I'm gonna see. So we got 3 goalkeepers. We got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So we got 27 players. I wish it was 30. I don't know why Greg decides to cut it off in 27. You're allowed to bring as many players as you want, but that is what the coach has decided. So you already heard the analysis. You heard what I think about the roster. I think for me, the way Greg is going to play this team, I would know that for the Mexico game, he's going to play Eden Horvath on the back. For the defenders, it's going to be Walker Zimmerman. It's going to be Anthony Robinson, Miles Robinson, and then DeAndre Yedlin. I think that's going to be on the back. And then the midfielders, if you're playing conservative and you do not want that yellow card accumulated with Adams, especially with that Panama game, I think that Greg is probably going to put Kellen Acosta, Christian Roldan, Yunus Musa, and Busio. Those are going to be those. And then the last 2 on top is going to be Christian Pulisic as a false 9, and then maybe Ricardo Pepi. But I think Tim Weah might sneak in there somewhere. But that's just my analysis. But if he wants to put it all in there and whatever happens, he will put Adams. He would put Kellen Acosta or Luca De La Torre to back up McKennie. So I don't know how the formation would be. It's very interesting to say the least. But overall, this is the team that is going to either make us or break us. That's what it is. I really don't know how Greg is going to utilize his players. And depending on Serginho Dest's injury, I really hope that Greg has a plan B of having someone else to come into camp, because we cannot. I already know that Serginho Dest is already in doubt for the game against Mexico. I don't know if he'll be ready for the game against Panama, but I don't know. I don't know how he would play it. This is just my opinion saying that Greg, please, Greg, I am begging like any other US fan, do not screw it up, right? And I'm already probably jinxing it already. Oh, do not screw it up. All you need to do is make sure you win that Panama game, get something, get at least a point in Mexico. I was hopefully, even without McKennie, I think we could have still made it, but now without Des, I don't even know. But you never know. You never know. A fun fact. Every time Serginho Des hasn't played Mexico, they have won. When DeAndre Yedlin is in the roster or in the lineup, they have won all 3 of the occasions. But then McKennie was also in at least 2 of the 3 wins. So the win in the Nations League and then the World Cup qualifying. So this could change. But I think if you put Luca De La Torre, substitute him, put him in place where McKennie is, I think everything will be fine, because he is very good, right? He's a very underrated player. So what about you guys? Looking at the roster, how confident, how worried, how paranoid, how optimistic or pessimistic are you about our chances of qualifying to the World Cup? And how do you think Berhalter is going to line up each of those different dates? The one against Mexico, Panama, and Costa Rica. Write the comments below. I would like to get that understanding. And also, make sure, do not forget to like the video. Make sure you share it with everyone. Kicking Balls FC. Again, if you don't know who I am, my name is Dustin, and I'm always around Twitter. That's my second home, where I just do a bunch of soccer stuff. All right. So that basically seals the deal. Hopefully, with this roster, we already went through it. We know what to do. We know what is expecting of us. We have to just make sure that this is enough. That this is enough to qualify us, and hopefully, pray that no other player gets hurt. Any of the important players heading to the World Cup window. So I'll be here to give you a preview of the Mexico game, Panama and Costa Rica. But more importantly, probably scratch that. I will not do a preview. I actually will do a live stream watch along on those games. So I'm going to be a watch along for Mexico, Panama, and then Costa Rica. And hopefully, at the end of it all, after all this is over, we can all breathe a sigh of relief and then also celebrate as accordingly and never take World Cup qualifying for granted. Because I know these guys, these boys, they want to qualify. They want to. They can see it. And if you ever see that Geo commercial, the one where I think it's an Adidas commercial, where he saw in Times Square, he saw that the United States failed to qualify. I think he was only like 15, 14 years old. This is his dream. His dream is to make the World Cup. So everyone, every US fan, back this team up, regardless of how incompetent this coach is, how stupid, how crappy of a coach we have. But we have to get back on this team no matter what, because we cannot afford to lose another qualifying cycle. We can't. We have to qualify, especially for this one coming up in November and December, and then our aspirations for 2026, because that is the goal. And the only way we can get those aspirations in 2026 is to qualify for the World Cup. So back this team up, back the players. I don't back the coach until he proves me otherwise. So we'll see. So, all right, guys. So, thank you so much for joining in Kicking Balls FC. All right. If you need to see me anytime, make sure that you follow me on Twitter and also on this YouTube channel. Hit that like button, subscribe, share it with your friends. All right. We're going to do a lot of watch alongs, especially with the games going on. And then my prediction of what's going to happen in the next window. So look forward to that. It's going to be coming soon. All right. And if there are any updates on the roster, I will update that as well. All right, guys. So take it easy. Enjoy your Thursday. Hopefully, there's a lot of soccer to be played between now and next week. All right. Get ready. It's going to be one hell of a ride. And hopefully, we're all celebrating at the end of the day. And I think we will. I think we'll qualify. It will be gutsy, but it's going to happen. And I don't know who's going to be the hero, but someone's going to be the hero. And let's hope whoever that hero is, he deserves a ticket to the World Cup. Let's not do what we did for the many past years where the person who scores the winning goal is left off the World Cup. All right. If someone who scores the winning goal deserves to be in the World Cup regardless of what happens, even if it's someone like Roldan or you know, you know, you know what the hell I mean, right? So, all right, guys. So take it easy, guys. All right. God bless. Vamos USA. Let's go. Make sure that you back this team up. All right. All right, guys. Peace.